Will Hunting is wicked smart. This is spoilers.
This is spoilers.
Wicked smart.
Hey everybody, this is Spoilers. I'm your host tonight, Brett. I'm recording from Fort Wayne. How's everyone doing tonight?
Pretty good.
Doing better than Josh.
Yeah. Josh is sick.
Josh drank too much milk.
Yeah, we had something similar to that last week, and we didn't puke though, thank goodness. But let's go ahead and go around. Let's see. Let's do West to East, and I was thinking of an opening question. I couldn't think of a good one, so why don't you just tell me your favorite Matt Damon movie?
Okay, this is Pappy, recording from Denver, Colorado, and I feel like I'm going to forget one. Favorite Matt Damon movie? Thor Ragnarok. I like it.
He's funny in that.
Taika Waititi, yeah.
Cool, so let's see, who's in...
Would that be me?
Yeah, whoever's in Elkhart's more west or something.
Yeah, that's how
or east.
I think it's the geography works out. Hello, this is Stevie recording from Elkhart in my favorite Matt Damon movie. Well, I'll go with an actual movie that he leads, and I will say The Bourne Ultimatum.
Ooh,
that's the third in the Bourne series, and when he jumps through that window, it's like, damn, that's cool. So yeah, Bourne Ultimatum for me.
I feel like you took a shot at my pick there. An actual movie that he leads.
I thought we were actually going to talk about like an actual Matt Damon movie. Otherwise, I would have said...
Ugh.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah, that's the plot twist of the movie.
They've had their time.
I'm Mikey, recording out of Goshen, and I'm also going to choose a Bourne movie. I'm going to choose the second one. I think the second one is a little bit...
Supremacy?
Yeah, I like the...
That's really good.
I like the driving scenes in that one. I love all the Bourne movies, though. They're all great.
Yeah, they're good. I guess that leads to me. Like I said, I'm Brett from Fort Wayne. Good Will Hunting is my favorite, but outside of that, let's go with the trifecta here. I'd probably say The Bourne Identity. I'd say The Martian, but you guys would probably all make fun of me, so...
Martian's solid.
I like that movie.
Yeah, real solid.
Hate that movie.
Why?
So you hate space movies?
No, I hate The Martian. I hate boring, lame pun movies.
Pappy hates Castaway. It's any time a character gets left by himself and has to fend for himself. Pappy
and has
hates
to talk
him.
to himself to avoid complete silence in the movie.
Brittany hates Castaway too.
Basura. That's a great movie.
I've never seen it.
Let me ask you a question. Do you have a photographic memory?
I don't know, I just kind of remember.
Meet Will Hunting. In South Boston, he's already a legend.
Assault, mayhem, theft, resisting, all overturned. But when you hit an officer, you go in.
I've spoken to the judge, and he's agreed to release you.
Really?
You have to meet with me and a therapist every week.
This boy's genius is unparalleled. I've never seen anything like it.
Now,
I need someone who can get through to him.
Like me.
for the first time in his life,
It's a poker game with this kid. Any vulnerability he senses, he'll exploit.
Will Hunting is about to meet his match.
Did you paint that?
Yeah, I painted it.
Very interesting. Well, maybe you're in the middle of a storm, the waves are crashing over your tiny little boat there, and maybe you did what you had to do to get out. Maybe you became a psychologist.
You got me.
And maybe you married the wrong woman. Maybe you should watch your mouth.
Nobody can understand you, right? Well, you're a genius. I can't learn anything from you. I can't read in some book. Unless you want to talk about you. Are you terrified of what you might say?
You're sitting on a winning lottery ticket. You got something none of us have. Oh, come on. Why is it always this? I mean, I owe it to myself. You don't owe it to yourself. You owe it to me. Because I'd do anything to have what you got. So would any of these guys.
She's perfect right now, and I don't want to ruin that.
Maybe you're perfect right now. Maybe you don't want to ruin that. That way you can go through your entire life without ever having to really know anybody.
I love you.
You ever think about getting remarried?
My wife's dead.
Hence the word remarried.
My wife's dead.
Well, I think that's a super philosophy, Sean. I mean, that way you could actually go through the rest of your life without ever really knowing anybody.
Robin Williams, Matt Damon, Ben Affleck, Stellan Skarsgård, and Minnie Driver. Good Will Hunting. A film by Gus Van Sant.
So, our movie this week was Good Will Hunting, which is one of my favorite movies. Probably seen it, 10 to 15 times. So, Pappy actually watched it for the first time ever yesterday. So, welcome to the club.
Yeah. It was actually like one of the most popular movies on Letterboxd that I hadn't seen. And like, I feel like it's one of those movies that people got pissed off at me for not seeing. Like, how have you not seen that?
How have you not, like, been like home on a Sunday and turned on TNT and watched this movie? It's on every other weekend.
I had seen almost all the parts. I don't think I'd ever just seen it like straight through, but you're right. It was on TV so much. I think it was like predominantly featured in that game, Seen It too. So like there wasn't much of this movie I didn't already know about.
Yeah, and there's some pretty iconic scenes that you probably had already heard about or heard of. So that's that. I didn't really want to do this, but after consulting with a close friend, Stevie, is there anything you want to get out? Are you okay with us doing a Weinstein movie? Do you have anything to say before we start? And then we're not going to talk about it the rest of the time, okay?
Okay, we won't bring up the worst monster like possible who produced this movie, but I have an idea that we can pitch to Netflix. It's called Good Will Hunting. And the Spoilers crew go to Goodwill stores throughout the states and find and show off the awesome prizes of shopping at Goodwill stores.
I like
It's called Goodwill Hunting.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
So I will not bring up Weinstein, but he is a horrendous monster.
For sure. And the good news about this is he was really important in getting it made, but like he didn't have a big hand in it, so that's good.
Well, friend of the podcast, Kevin Smith, brought it to him, right? That's how the story goes.
Yeah, it was it was in limbo for 4 years, and it was like dead in the water. Nobody wanted to do it. It was kind of like a Rocky situation where they're like, yeah, we want to make this movie, but we don't want you guys to be in it. And they're like, we have to. And then it got to the point where if Kevin Smith would not have gotten involved, they would have lost the movie, and it would have been devastating for him because, it was a movie Matt had started writing when he was in his 5th year at Harvard, I believe. And then, when he left Harvard, him and Ben Affleck got together and finished it off. So,
the production companies, benefit of the doubt or whatever, nobody ever does that. You don't write the movie and then get to star in it. That doesn't happen, ever.
Unless you're Sylvester Stallone, that's about it.
Yeah,
yeah, but he almost lost that too. I mean, he called everyone's bluff kind of maybe in reverse and it ended up working out for him. But yeah, you're right. It's not that common, but it was like their baby.
Yeah, I would try too if I wrote that thing, but just production companies don't usually do that. Let you have free reign over everything.
I also think Rob Reiner helped them clean up the script a little bit.
I was actually going to say that. Their original script has pretty much what we saw in the movie, and then it goes off the rails, and they're getting chased by the CIA.
They go Beautiful Mind.
Yeah, and then
sounds awesome.
They gave it to Rob Reiner, and he's like, "This is great. Get rid of the FBI or CIA stuff." And then they gave it to William Goldman, and he said the same.
He wrote Born Identity 20 years ago.
Yep. Someone made a joke that it's the second half of the movie is The Accountant, which I haven't seen, but
oh yeah, it is a lot. That sounds a lot like it.
All right. Well, that was good stuff. We got that out of the way. Appreciate it. You guys keeping it calm and collective. I've seen Stevie off the blow his lid before, so well, let's get right in the movie. I have less points than usual, only 2.5 pages, guys. So,
single space or double space?
Single, but it's old, not college rule. What's that called? Wide rule.
Wide rule.
Handwritten, guys. Handwritten.
Gothic font.
Comic Sans.
No, I'll show you. It's not any font anybody can recognize, but okay. So
Wingdings.
Oh
it's
gosh,
just airplanes and trees.
Yeah. Just to start off, Will's a janitor at MIT. I don't need to explain what MIT is. It's the best technical school in the state, country, world, pretty much. So his 3 buddies are Chucky, Morgan, and Billy. Chucky is Ben Affleck. Morgan is Casey Affleck. And Billy is my boy, Cole Hauser.
The one and only.
The one and only movie star. So, he's mopping around and he sees this linear algebra theorem, and he solves it. And the next scene, they're kind of like just palling around. They like to hang out at little kids' places, kind of. I don't know if you noticed that throughout. They go to Little League games, even though they don't have kids. They go to like batting cages. They just do a bunch of crap. Their lives are...
Them drinking a beer at the Little League was hilarious.
Yeah.
Dig it out!
So actually, he solves that equation, and then they're at the batting cages. They decide to go to a Harvard bar, which kind of like sets what Stevie, I guess would call the B storyline of the movie. Professor Lambeau, I don't know if you guys are, but I've always been a big fan of Stellan Skarsgård. So,
oh yeah,
I think
he's awesome.
I mean, you could say that he's maybe, one-dimensional, but he does that really well, in my opinion. So, he plays Professor Lambeau, who's a math genius, and someone comes and tells him that the problem's been solved, and they kind of all want to figure out who it is.
This is correct. Who did this? Jack?
Wasn't me.
Imish?
No way.
So then we get the Pappy scene where they're just drinking beer at a T-ball game. Not T-ball, I guess it's probably just baseball. And they see a guy who probably has the most Italian name ever, Carmine Scarpaglia.
I love that.
And you just recognize...
Call the man Fettuccine Alfredo for crying out loud.
Yeah, kind of, that's like a Family Guy line. So, Stevie, what's special about Carmine? What is Will?
So, Carmine has a very attractive girlfriend, and what are they doing there? Do they have like a little cousin that's playing?
They must have.
Like, is that a thing in the neighborhood? Let's go watch the baseball game.
I think so. They're just like watching it and hanging out and getting drunk.
It seemed
Free
like
sports, man.
Yeah. Boston sports.
They know the kids' names too.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like,
scouted them.
If you get invested in anything, it can be exciting. Like I used to, I don't like NASCAR, but I always said, if I had a driver I liked, you could get into it if you just get invested into it. And I'm guessing that's what they do. They go scout and
I guess
probably follow the standings and everything. But yeah, go ahead, Stevie, with Carmine.
Well, it's funny because it's like the most losery thing they could do. You know what I mean? It's like probably on a weekday or like maybe like a Saturday afternoon where it's just like, oh, let's go to the, Little League game and drink beers. It's so losery. But Carmine used to beat the living tar out of Goodwill Hunting when they were in kindergarten, and Will hasn't forgot about that because he remembers everything he will ever see in his life.
Would you even recognize that guy? I mean, it's got to be like 25 years.
Well, Will's supposed to be 20 in the movie. That was another. I heard this on another podcast. That's another reason why they had to desperately get the movie made, because he was 27 at the time, and he was running out of time to be able to play a 20-year-old. So. He's supposed to be 20.
That 22. I was surprised to hear that he was 20 at the end of the movie. He's just like getting alcohol wherever he goes, no problem.
Well, yeah, they go to a dive bar that they know everybody, and then that's one of the reasons why they go to Harvard. The Harvard bar is because they know the bouncer. So
okay.
So
Will's the youngest, right?
Out of his friends, obviously, yeah. I mean, Casey Affleck looks the youngest, but I'm guessing Will's supposed to be the youngest.
Double burger. Chuck ahead a double burger.
Would you shut the fuck up? I know what you ordered. I was there.
So give me my fucking sandwich.
You mean your sandwich? I bought it. Morgan, how much money you got on you?
I said I get change when I get the snow cone. I said that before when we pulled up. Why don't you just give me my sandwich and stop being a prick?
All right, well, give me your fucking 16 cents that you got on you now. We'll put your fucking sandwich on layaway. There we go. Keep it right up here for you. We'll put you on a program. Every day you come in with your 6 cents, and at the end of the week, you get your sandwich.
Why you gotta be an asshole?
So there's, I don't know, I thought the funny scene, just a throwaway scene, but the double burger, I thought that was pretty funny. Ben Affleck wants to put it on layaway. So then they go by, and must be a small neighborhood because they see Carmine again, and then they get out, and they just get this huge brawl in front of a bunch of kids who look like little terrors. They're just like egging on and cussing and just being hooligans. Is that the music they play?
Yeah, Jerry Raftery.
Oh, nice.
Brett, what'd you think of this fight scene? Did you think it looked good? Because I thought it was laughably bad. I forgot how.
Yeah, I was thinking about it.
Terrible it looked.
There were a couple shots where I thought looked decent, but yeah, I don't know if they did it.
There's one shot funny. Of Casey Affleck winding up, in slow-mo, and he looks so goofy. He's like scrunching up his face. It's like you could tell Gus Van Sant was just like, hey Casey, just go really slow and scrunch up your face. Punch at the camera.
I feel like they sacrificed some of that just so they could get like actual look like punches in the face as opposed to, well-timed choreography that, as well as you do it, it still kind of looks fake. But who knows? Who knows what's in the mind of Gus Van Sant? So, the cops come, he assaults a cop and then gets arrested. So, everyone shows up to Professor Lambeau's class and everyone wants to know who solved the problem. And he does too, obviously. So nobody comes forward. And so he puts a new problem, that took another math genius 2 years to solve. Now, the problem apparently is called homeomorphically irreducible trees of degree 10. So, I mean, I knew that stuff in third grade, so I don't know what's so special.
Elementary for Brett.
Yep, for sure. So Will solves the problem, and then Lambeau catches him solving the problem. Kind of perfect timing there, but runs away, says something pretty nasty to Lambeau.
Hey, fuck you!
So the next scene, they're at the Harvard bar. I think this is one of the classic scenes of the movie. I don't know, Mikey, you want to maybe describe some of the highlights of it?
Yeah, so like we said, Will's too young to get into any bar, but they know this bouncer, and he lets them in. And they just go to the Harvard bar to, I think, basically hit on chicks because it's kind of out of their town.
Yep.
So they're trying to find new girls or whatever. And Ben Affleck instantly sees, is her name Minnie Driver?
Yeah, Skylar.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Skylar, Minnie Driver.
Minnie Skylar.
And he, when he spots them and then walks over, cracks me up every time. He he kind of does like a little dance and like looks in the mirror and combs his hair and stuff, and it cracks me up every time. And then he goes over there and he tries to make a move on these two girls, and he is really making an ass of himself, but he's not being a dick or anything. And another Harvard guy walks up. What's his name?
Clark. And he's, I don't know if you guys know who Dean Winters is, but that's Dean Winters' brother.
Well, he looks like a super douche. He's got a long blonde ponytail, and he's talking down to Ben Affleck, and he's being a real jerk.
His hair looks so ratty.
Oh, yeah, it's terrible.
It's gross.
Yeah, it's awful.
So nasty.
But he's talking down to Ben Affleck, who's just being a nice guy, trying to hit on these girls, and he's calling him out because he knows that he doesn't go to Harvard, so he's kind of like demeaning him, and he's kind of saying some stupid stuff about some history subject or whatever, trying to just throw him off his game, and then Matt Damon walks over and kind of puts him in his place. It's a pretty good scene. It's I'd say it's probably the funnier scene, one of the funnier scenes in the movie, because Matt Damon kind of turns the tables on Clark and gets Minnie Driver Skylar's number. So yeah, I like that scene.
He points out the fact that Clark's in there just like literally plagiarizing books he's read to try to sound smart. But Matt Damon, Matt Damon has read all the same books. I don't know if you know, just for the audience, Dean Winters is like the mayhem guy for Allstate. He's in,
yeah.
He's the Vulture in Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Oh, yeah.
I think he's in Oz. I think Clark's in Oz. I never watched Oz, but you get one of the classic lines of Casey Affleck go, "My boy's wicked smart." And then, when Mikey's talking about Skylar comes up and she's all mad at him because he didn't come talk to her, and I don't know why it's so funny. It's actually from Marlon Brando said it on the set of Apocalypse Now, but he goes, "I swallowed a bug," and he gets up and walks away. That's like his cue to leave. So he gets her number, yeah, and then you get another iconic line is, Pappy will probably point out that scene is verbatim from Chinatown, which I've never seen, but he says, "Hey, do you like apples?" He comes upon Clark in a different, I don't know, cafe or whatever. And he says, "How do you like them apples?" But yeah, it's taken verbatim from Chinatown. Jack Nicholson says that apparently.
Do you like apples?
Yeah.
Well, I got a number. How do you like them apples?
Okay, just go back to that scene though. I thought that the conversation between them, of them flexing on each other, I think it's a little bit weird. Stevie, do you like it? I thought it feels a little bit contrived.
When he's throwing Vicas out?
Of course that's your
Hang on a
contention.
second.
You're a first-year grad student. You just got finished reading some Marxian historian, Pete Garrison probably. You're going to be convinced of that till next month when you get to James Lemon. Then you're going to be talking about how the economies of Virginia and Pennsylvania were entrepreneurial and capitalist way back in 1740. That's going to last until next year. You're going to be in here regurgitating Gordon Wood, talking about, the pre-revolutionary utopia and the capital-forming effects of military mobilization.
Well, as a matter of fact, I won't, because Wood drastically underestimates the impact of social...
Wood drastically underestimates the impact of social distinctions predicated upon wealth, especially inherited wealth. You got that from Vickers. Work in Essex County, page 98, right?
I wish it would have gone a different way, because we already know that Matt Damon is a genius. And typically, I mean, I know, Will Hunting is a different case, but isn't it typical that the smartest man in the room is typically the man who talks less? And I wish, his comeuppance towards the dude with the super ratty hair had, come, later in the movie at some point and not there. That was just my feeling on it.
Yeah, but, I mean, he's a math genius, but this is kind of where you get to see that he
has a photographic memory?
Yeah, as much as anyone can, which... technically can't, but that's all right.
When is he reading all these books?
Well, they show him at the very beginning in the little kaleidoscope open. He's in there reading. He's reading that book. He's doing math. He's looking at, she says later, you do organic chemistry for fun. For someone who doesn't care about his future, he likes to know things. And, maybe he is, not your typical smart guy. He also said he doesn't date very often, so maybe he's not good at you're right, Stevie. You're the smartest guy in the room. You don't usually have to say anything, but
yeah,
it's kind of all new for him, maybe. And how often is he around Harvard people?
That's true. And maybe he was just trying to stand up for his best friend.
Well, that's what he says. He's like, you're bothering these girls. You're trying to embarrass my friend.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I actually love that scene, but I totally get both you guys' points. So, Professor Lambeau tracks Will down. He goes to buildings and grounds, and that's a pretty funny scene, I guess. He finds out he's a criminal. Then you go to another scene where they kind of show Will's smart, but he's kind of a nightmare. He's at his arraignment. He's using this old-time criminal law as defense, and you kind of find out from a judge who also has terrible hair that he's been in trouble 10 times, but every single time he talks his way out of it.
Will Hunting is like a superhero. He's the best lawyer ever. He's the best mathematician ever. He's good at everything he does.
Yep. And then this is the first time you find out that Will they read his rap sheet. He was passed around the system. He was beaten. That's kind of the first time you hear that. So he calls Skylar with this one phone call, apparently. That's pretty funny. And they set a date. I don't know. The Hervé guy who walks by, he's always creeped me out. Does he, he's on the phone. That guy's like, hey man, you want some of this?
That was a man?
I don't know. I thought
that was a female, man.
It looks like the third cracked out version of the Affleck brother. It
looks like the McPoyle sister.
But his name's Hervé, according to the closed captioning. So,
Hervé,
Hurve. So I don't know.
Hervé Maria.
But then Lambeau comes, bails him out, and the kind of the crux of the story happens right here. He gets the judge to release him under his supervision. Only the two things he needs to do is he needs to meet with Lambeau, I believe, once a week or twice a week, and he needs to see a therapist. So, Will's like, yeah, I'll meet with you, but I'm not seeing a therapist. But obviously, that's not what happens. So then they show Lambeau and Will doing math, and they kind of become fast friends, but you kind of find out that's kind of a fickle friendship later on. But we'll get to that later. Does anybody know who George Plimpton is?
Sounds real familiar.
He's like a famous journalist or whatever. He's actually the first therapist. He's the one that's like, do you have a hard time hiding the fact that you're gay?
Oh, yeah.
But everyone's always super surprised that George that George Plimpton's in that movie because he's not an actor at all, but he plays that character pretty well. Then the second therapist, Pappy, do you want to describe the second therapist and what happens there? The hypnotherapist?
Yeah, he's like pretending to be asleep, and Matt Damon starts to get into some like deep Freudian stuff, like and the therapist thinks he's like making a breakthrough. He's like, yeah, just describe what's happening. And as Matt Damon gets into it, describing this like buried pain, and ends up he's singing Afternoon Delight, which is pretty funny.
Yeah.
Reminds me of Anchorman.
So, Brett, would you say it's fairly obvious that this isn't Will Hunting's first like run around with therapists?
Yeah.
That like this isn't probably the first time he's screwing with them on a constant basis.
Yeah, I'm guessing, you know what, I don't know if I ever even thought about that, but now that you mention it, I mean, he's passed around the system.
I have to imagine he's had to like forcibly at court seen these therapists before.
Mm-hmm. Or like
especially
going to,
if he was abused in foster care, I'm sure. Yeah.
And then, like boys' homes and stuff, you have to see therapists. Boys or girls' homes, non-denominational. So then you meet Sean McGuire for the first time. That's Robin Williams at Bunker Hill Community College. Him and Lambeau are old college roommates. They talk at a bar. You get a little bit of background. Sean McGuire kind of had the same background. You find out a little bit. You don't find out till the end, but, he's from Southie. I don't know if you ever heard the phrase Southie when talking about Boston. That might be new to you guys.
We definitely heard it on The Town.
Yeah.
It's brought up in every Boston movie.
Speaking of which, what Ben Affleck movie club is this? Is this 6?
Yeah, 6.
6.
Jeez, that's a lot of Ben Affleck.
Take down Anthony Daniels, Ben.
Well, Anthony Daniels will eventually run out of movies that we can do, so, Ben Affleck will catch him eventually. I'll make sure of it. So, Sean pretty much says he's busy, doesn't want to meet with them, and Lambeau's kind of like, you're the only guy that can get through to him. So then you, I skipped the thing. So, they have their first therapy session with Sean. Why don't who wants to describe that scene? Cause that's like I don't know, I think it's a cool scene, but it's a brutal scene. Steve, you want to take that one? You want to go, Pap?
Pap, have at it, man.
Have it, dude.
Yeah. So, he kicks out Lambeau, and then Lambeau's little assistant. I don't know if we've talked about that guy yet, but he's so weird. He loves.
Well, he has a crush on him for sure.
For sure, yeah. He's like been groomed by Lambeau, and now he's kind of been pushed aside.
Yeah.
You're very lucky to have his attention. But anyway, yeah, it's basically, they start talking a little bit about the books that are on the shelves, and they're going back and forth. Matt Damon isn't giving him, or Good Will Hunting isn't giving him much. But then he stands up and he sees this painting, which it's like an old man out to sea, kinda, I guess. I don't know, how would you describe it? Like there's boats, there's like waves, and he's in a storm. And basically, Good Will Hunting is so good at analyzing art, he can break down Robin Williams just based on this one painting.
It's a real piece of shit. Oh, well, tell me what you really think.
Just the linear and impressionistic mix makes a very muddled composition. It's also a Winslow Homer ripoff, except you got Whitey rowing the boat there.
Well, it's an odd one, eh? It wasn't very good.
That's not really what concerns me, though.
What concerns you?
It's the coloring.
You know what the real bitch of it is? It's paint by number.
Is it color by number? Because the colors are fascinating to me.
Are they really? What about that?
I think you're about one step away from cutting your fucking ear off.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and Stevie touched on it a few minutes ago. I don't know if I noticed it the first couple times viewing it, but Will is really good at, he keeps going. He's kind of like making fun of him about the books. He's trying to find a weakness in him. He's trying to find what gets him, like with the first guy probably found out something about, he's probably been called gay before, he probably figured that out and, completely embarrassing the hypnotherapist. Like he knew that would get him. So he's kind of searching. So he goes for the books first and that goes nowhere. Mm-hmm. Then he goes right to the painting, makes fun of him, but Sean's kind of not biting on it.
Until he brings up his wife,
yep.
which is This is like another iconic line which says, "I will fucking end you."
Yeah.
Robin Williams with his hand around his.
It's pretty awesome, though.
Oh, yeah.
He delivers it really well.
I will end you. I will fucking end you.
It's like he's sticking up for his dead wife. I mean, I think you got a wife who died. I think just about anybody would do that. Because Matt Damon is really going to town on this painting and just really making some wild accusations about Robin Williams' wife.
And I think it's like important too that Robin Williams' character, it came from South Boston as well, and it's like this kind of aggression that like Matt Damon, Good Will Hunting, can actually like relate to. You know what I mean? No other therapist is like fucking grabbed him by the neck before. Like you can kind of see it in his eyes. He like respects that move from Robin Williams.
Yeah, I think it catches him off guard too. Like, yeah, for sure. I always kind of like the line. He's like, "You lift weights?" He's like, "Yeah." He goes, "Nautilus, free weights. What do you bench? 285. What do you bench?"
285. Robin Williams ain't throwing up no 285.
He's got some pretty big arms.
Matt Damon doesn't even reply to it. He just like walks away.
He just keeps going on the next thing.
Yeah, next thing. So
Robin Williams probably has dad strength. Doesn't look strong, but he can probably.
Robin Williams' arm hair can bench 285 alone.
For sure.
That boy's shooting up with something.
So then we get to Skylar and Will's first date. They kind of get a little bit into Skylar's history. I don't know if it's a typical Harvard story. She got an inheritance, and so. But she's super friendly and she's super quirky, and it's kind of like the opposite of Will, but Will seems to really dig it. She tells him another little mini crux of the story is that she's getting ready to go to Stanford. And so let me get my old school notes flipped here.
She wanted to become a surgeon, right? That was her end game, is become a surgeon.
I would assume so.
I don't know if they ever said surgeon, but she just said med. She probably did say surgeon. I just missed it. So.
Yeah.
But yeah, Stanford's one of the good schools to go to.
Good on her.
Yeah, for sure. So then you get your second meeting with Sean. When I was reading some reviews on Letterboxd, and the scene I saw most quoted, except for one later, which you probably both know all know what I'm talking about. But the scene, it's one of my favorite scenes. It's with, they're on the bench.
Yeah.
Steve, you want to go ahead and describe that? I don't know. I really like that scene. I like it more and more every time I see it.
So, Robin Williams, in their first meeting, pretty much let Will kind of run the show. And in their second meeting, he really takes point. He's kind of on the verge of pretty much just saying, "Shut up and you're going to listen to me." And he goes on to say a lot of stuff like, I could be mad at you, you know what I mean? Like, the more I thought about it, he's like, "You have experienced nothing." It's like, you know everything, and you've experienced nothing, and you're just a kid. And he pretty much goes on to say, like, if I talked about this, you just cite this. He's like, we can go back and forth all day. But in the end, you haven't actually lived the way I have.
Right.
And he kind of leaves him just speechless.
Yeah, he's like, if I talk about Michelangelo, if I talk about art, you'd talk about Michelangelo and the Sistine Chapel, or if I talk about women, you'd talk about blah blah blah, war, love, and then
if I read Oliver Twist, I wouldn't know your life.
Oh man, that's something I like more and more every time I watch it too. It's just
want more?
Lisa, I have some more. But yeah, so he's basically just saying, you look at one painting and you think you have my whole life figured out. He's like, I can't read a book about Oliver Twist and know what your life's about. So, and it's kind of a turning point in the movie. I mean, I think it's two really important words that he says at the end. He goes, "I'm in," So I don't know. It's just a really,
that's one of the better parts of the whole movie.
Yeah. It's a pretty scene. They've actually set up a memorial there for him when he died.
Really?
On that bench. Yep.
And I saw a picture of it, and someone written, "Oh, Captain, my Captain," on the bench. I'm like, that's the wrong movie, dog.
For sure. Oh, Sean, my Sean.
Oh, Sean.
10,000 years.
Give you such a quick of the neck. Apparently, there were like hundreds of people there that were all watching the scene, and they thought it was going to be a nightmare, and everyone just was just super quiet. Because they really, really wanted
there's a lot of people
to see them.
running around.
So
in that scene, flying kites and shit all over the place.
if you look across the little creek, there's people just standing there for no reason other than to stare at the scene.
Just staring.
But it's far enough away that it's not like distracting to me. Then they show another meeting with Sean and Will. You think like, oh, second meeting is going to be a breakthrough, but pretty much Sean says no smoking, and that's the only thing they say to each other the whole hour. Then they do another thing. It's kind of like they're building on how smart Will is. He impresses another math genius, but at the same time makes him feel like a failure because this guy's been working in math his whole life, and he just doesn't want to believe that what Will's saying is true. But obviously Will's a genius. So, fourth session, they kind of do a bunch of sessions in a row. I think they kind of just want to build it up. Will tells a joke after a while. I don't know if we want to skip the joke or someone wants to try to tell it, but we'll probably just maybe play it or something.
I was on this plane once, and I'm sitting there, and captain gets on. He does this whole, we'll be cruising at 35,000 feet, but then he puts the mic down. He forgets to turn it off. Mm-hmm. And so he turns to the co-pilot, and he's like, all I could use right now is a fucking blowjob and a cup of coffee. So the stewardess fucking goes bombing up from the back of the plane to tell him that the microphone's still on. This guy in the back of the plane's like, hey, hon, don't forget the coffee.
You forgot the coffee.
Don't forget the coffee. So then you get to another kind of a textbook classic Robin Williams scene. I don't know how familiar all you are, but they talk about Skylar. And then he's talking about how she's perfect. And Robin Williams, I don't know if you knew this. You probably did. It's pretty well known, but he tells a story about his wife farting in bed, and he would wake the dog up. But that was that was a 100% organic, ad-libbed story. So the laughter that's coming from Matt Damon is like 100% legit because nobody knew he was going to say that.
Yeah, I'm not trying to be an asshole. That story did nothing for me, though. That's like one of all of the long jokes in this movie. That one's like my least favorite.
The fart?
The 8-second story he tells about his wife. It's too long for you?
It's just, and then like Robin Williams smiles with like this crazy smile, and Matt Damon's nostrils are like flaring all over the place as he's laughing.
Oh yeah, they're flaring for sure.
I don't know. It's unsettling for me.
I like it, but
Pap, just give it a no dog and
just give us a whole no dog and walk away, man.
Do you want to give us a yes no right now and head to bed or what?
Oh my god, you guys!
Okay,
I hate that story.
So it's you don't really know what's going on with Skylar, but it's made plain that he hasn't called her after their date. So he goes to Harvard. She's like, I got to do homework. Let's meet tomorrow. And then he leaves and comes back an hour later and
He's like, here's your homework, dummy. Let's go play. Let's go play baseball.
Yeah,
let's go bet on some dogs.
He did her organic chemistry homework. So yeah, they go to the dog track. This is where Matt does his 12 brothers thing. I don't know if I read something interesting. I don't know if it's true or not, but someone said that maybe the 12 people are 12 directors that he wanted to work with, and they're all listed. I mean, if every single one, like Brian at the end's Brian De Palma, and Terry Gilliam, Pap's boy.
Time Bandits.
So
isn't there a Mikey? Doesn't he?
Yeah, who's that?
Michael Mann, man.
If you want me to,
that's who I was thinking.
I could pull. If you want to talk, I can pull it up. Let's see.
Tommy Tiki Taki.
Tommy Tiki Tavi Kaki Littlefoot was in there too, I think.
Littlefoot.
Ricky Tiki Tavi was in there. The famous mongoose. I'm getting there. I'm almost there, guys.
Who's your mama?
Does he do it right both times?
Yes, he does, I believe.
Okay. I didn't go back and compare.
Okay, so we got,
he did it right.
So we got Marky, Ricky, Danny, Terry, Mikey, Davey, Timmy, Tommy, Joey, Robbie, Johnny, and Brian. And
no Stevie.
Hey, one
no
day.
Steven Spielberg.
One day.
So we got I don't know some of these people. Some you might Mark Rocco. Never heard of him.
Never heard of him.
No.
Sir Richard Attenborough.
Well, yeah.
Yes.
Spare no expense for that man.
Who's that?
He's the old. Isn't he the
BBC nature guy?
Isn't he the old guy from Jurassic Park?
Oh.
Hold on.
Danny Boyle, Terry Gilliam, Michael Salomon, I don't know, David Fincher, Tim Burton.
Saruman.
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 Yes, Mikey. Richard Attenborough is the creator of Jurassic Park. The spare no expense.
I'm thinking David Attenborough.
Tom Hanks, Joel Schumacher, Robert Redford, John Woo, and Brian De Palma. So, there we go on that.
I don't believe that true.
Sounds highly speculative.
No, for sure. It's not. Nobody said it. It's just someone. It is what you said. It's a speculation. So.
Gotcha.
Also, this lie that he tells, that's a pretty bold lie.
Oh,
Why go with 12 brothers? Why
say my brother died? I mean...
Yeah.
Like he wants her to think that he's better than she is, or he doesn't think they'll last very long because, like you said, he'll screw it up or she'll screw it up, so he doesn't think he'll ever have to explain the lie.
The 12 brothers, that's a big lie.
Irish Catholic, though. My mom had 8 brothers and sisters, so...
Oh...
Do you know all their names, Brett?
Yes, I do.
Roll them off as fast as Will Hunting. Go.
Oof.
Go.
Beth, Diane, Peg, Danny, Tommy, Timmy, Patty, Lynn, Kathy.
Time's up.
That's pretty good.
That was really good.
I started doing it in order, then I realized I didn't know the order, so...
Those are all movies Brett wants to spoil.
So we'll get rolling here. So we get to our 5th session. I would say I love this scene too, but we'll see. It's the story of the Red Sox where he met his wife. Is Mikey? Do you want to describe that real quick, or?
Yeah, I love this scene. I think it's shot really well. But Robin Williams is talking about the time he first meets his wife at a bar. He's at this bar and he's got tickets to Game 6 of the 1975 World Series. He's with all of his friends, and he's telling the story to Will about the first time he meets his wife, and they're at this bar, and he just sees her, and he's dumbfounded by this woman, and he puts his ticket on the table and slides it over to his friends and says he has to go see about a girl. So he never ends up going to this game, but while he's telling Matt Damon this story, he's standing up and he's like acting like he's batting, and there's even like a crack of the bat, and they flashback to some old footage of
Carlson Fisk, man.
Yep. Pudge.
An actual game.
Pudge.
I think this whole scene is edited really well. And my favorite shot is when it's a top-down shot and Robin Williams is like running around bases, which are set up by the chairs he has in the
Yep, I saw that.
office.
That's pretty cool. Yeah,
I think it looks.
He like knocks him over.
It's just a really good, really well edited, thought out shot, and he tells this story so well. And the kicker at the end is that he never went into the game. Matt Damon asked him, "So how was the game?
Did you rush the field?
Did you rush the field?
Did you rush the
met your
field?
wife,
I didn't rush the fucking field.
Were you out there?" And he's like, "No, I didn't go to the fucking game." and Matt Damon is like dumbfounded that he just skipped the game to go talk to this woman. And Robin Williams, Sean, just says he has no regrets because that was the best decision he's ever made in his life. So it's a really sweet scene in the end, and I think it's one of the better edited scenes in this whole movie.
I like the very end too, where he's like, "It would have been cool to see that game though." And he goes, "I didn't know if this was going to hit a homer."
No, he's not a homer.
Yeah, that's hilarious.
So we get our first meet with Skylar and the buddies. So there's 2 stories. We don't need to talk about them. I always thought Ben Affleck's story was pretty funny.
I was on such pins and needles during these whole scenes when I first watched this. Because I was like, does she think these are his brothers? Is she going to bring up the brothers? Like, he's in a massive lie right now.
Did he tell these guys that, hey, pretend to be my brothers?
I don't know if he did, because Chucky almost busts him out later, and like I feel like Chucky and Billy would have, caught on quick that
Morgan wouldn't have.
Morgan would have been like, he ain't got no brothers, he's broke.
You're an orphan, motherfucker.
Stevie. I actually read that Casey Affleck ad-libbed like most of his lines, and it drove Matt Damon and Gus Van Sant crazy. But like when they watched it back, they were like, "Yeah, these lines are funnier than what we wrote for him."
I swallowed a bug.
Yeah, I swallowed a bug. But yeah, I kind of like how it's kind of like guessing a stereotypical Irish thing is, Morgan's just maybe it's kind of a stereotypical douche thing, but he just keeps interrupting Chucky, and they just scream the whole time. So that happens. It goes really well. And like I said, Chucky almost busts out Will. He kind of says, about his crappy house and then, yeah. So, then we get I don't know, I think...
He's putting his friend down a peg.
Yeah.
You should be
Well,
guiding
she's also
his
like, when am I
path.
going to go see your brothers? And
Nice,
Chucky just gives
Mikey.
him this look like, all right.
Yeah, so yeah, he catches on quick enough. But, I don't know, I feel like the scenes with Sean and Lambo are all really good, but they're all like super uncomfortable. Like the next one's at a bar with Lambo and Sean, and it's kind of Lambo set up some job offers for Will, and it's kind of like one of the first hints that you see that Lambo's kind of cracking a little bit when he says, I'm nothing compared to this young man, talking about how he's been a genius since he's been 18 and, like high regard since he was 18, and he's won this crazy prize, but he's nothing compared to him.
Tim, can you help us? We're trying to settle a bet. Uh-oh.
You ever heard of Jonas Salk?
Sure, cured polio.
You've heard of Albert Einstein? How about Gerald Lambo? Ever heard of him?
No.
Thank you, Tim.
So who won the bet?
I did. This isn't about me, Sean. I'm nothing compared to this young man.
You ever hear of Gerald Lambo?
I don't know. I feel like I'm waiting for someone just to rip on Ben Affleck, but I love the retainer scene. He's like...
It's a little out there
Yeah.
in terms of the rest of the movie.
But I like how he's kind of trying to throw big words together that he has no idea. So herefore retainer. And then he goes,
Also,
good.
No, this offer that he gets, what is it, like 85,000?
Yeah, like 84,000.
This guy's supposed to be a genius. How am I going to compete in the business world if I can't even, I'm not even a super genius, and Matt Damon's only getting an $85,000 offer.
Yeah, we're screwed.
With $17 up front as a retainer.
Yeah. What is this terrible
But
offer?
I've always loved, and I actually still use this line of "you suspect."
You suspect.
But
That's $131,000 in that year.
oh, nice. Okay, well,
All right, that's pretty good.
Mike and I have
Yeah.
a shot still. Well, we know Pappy's making bank, so
Well, I don't have a retainer.
no
Don't have a retainer.
retainer.
And somewhere in there, there's like a great meme about middle school cafeteria trays and retainer, but I couldn't think of it.
So
This scene felt somewhat out of place. I don't know. I mean, I understand it's funny and it's quirky, and it's good for like Ben Affleck to have screen time and whatnot. It's just compared to the rest of the movie, there's one other scene too that's highly out of place. And I feel like if you cut this scene, it would have been, all right.
Yeah, this is
Yeah,
my most out of place one. I think you could cut it no problem, and the story stays the exact same.
But I'm okay with it
I
being in
forget
there.
about
It's
it
just
every
it's,
time.
you could have cut it.
I think you could have cut it too, but at the same time, I feel like it's just showing you really quickly that how not seriously he's taking this job offer thing. So, so I guess that's one little part. But yeah, they do bring it up a few times later. So it's not. I think it's just a quick comic relief because it's getting to the part where it gets pretty serious, and a lot of mistakes are made by Will. But we're actually getting here pretty close. So there's another date. Skylar's this is another person he's kind of accidentally beat down. She's kind of depressed at how smart he is. I do like the scene where he's talking about why he's so smart, because Brittany brought it up. She's like, it never explains how he got so smart. And he just pretty much kind of uses what's going on over there? Someone making some noise. Okay. Sound like someone was biting into a pork bone.
What are you talking
Pat.
about?
Grinding it.
It's not me.
So, he's talking about, Beethoven just looks at a piano and he sees how to play. So that's pretty much it. It's not that important. Just kind of shows that Skylar's awed by him like everyone else, but at the same time, kind of like jealous maybe a little bit. But then we get to what I think is one of the most brutal breakup scenes ever. Stevie, you want to take this one?
Yeah, so
She asked him to go to California.
she asked him to go to California, and he was just like, "But what about Boston?" He's like,
I live
he's
here.
never left it. You know what I mean? He just kind of...
What about the socks?
What about the socks? They're going to win in, 7 years from now. But he's just kind of throwing excuses of why he can't leave. And then they really get into the breakdown of, like, he had a messed up life, and it is messing with him and everyone that tries to get close with him. He just pushes them away so hard. You know what I mean? It's like Skylar's crying, he's punching a wall, he has scars, pretty much going to depth of like, yeah, I got stabbed by a foster dad when I was younger.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he's like, you can't fix me. I am broken. I don't need you. You know, he's fighting against everything that makes sense to him because of how often he's been so hurt throughout his life.
Yeah, fear of abandonment. They say that
Just
later.
Such fear of abandonment. And that was pretty brutal to watch her cry saying, I love you. And he's like, I don't love you. And he walks out of her dorm with no boots on and his pants are undone and his shirt's off.
Yeah, she says...
the most Boston breakup ever.
She said, tell me you don't love me and I won't call you. I won't blah, blah, blah. And you think he's going to say something. He looks right at her and he goes, I don't love you. Man, that's brutal.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. We can tell he's like so afraid to, like, he's like a little kid. He's like, you're going to take backs or something, right? This is this part. Like, he's so afraid that, like,
yep.
Yeah, she's going to abandon him and like take back her love. Like nothing's going to be permanent.
In his defense, he is like getting these job offers and he doesn't have a job in California.
Like he couldn't find one.
Finally about to make some money. He's finally about to make some real money and kind of better himself in Boston.
Yeah, but he hasn't gotten to that point yet. He still thinks he's going to be working at, being a janitor and working construction. But I think it's I do agree with that. Like, but also I think kind of what Pappy's saying. He says it. He's like, what if? And he's also, remember, he's built like a web of lies that, let's say they go to California in 2 weeks, and then 3 days later she finds out that he's been lying to her the whole time, and then, they resent each other. He'll be out there. He'll be stuck out there. And I don't know. But yeah, I mean, his life does definitely have the potential to change, but I feel like he's not made that point. He's not to that point yet, but you could be right, though, for sure. And then we get to, I don't know, I think Pappy was talking about earlier, the TA who's in love with Lambo. Just like the most weird little, you know how lucky you are. He's a brilliant man. Yeah, it's creepy. But, yeah, it's just another person who resents Will. And then this is kind of like the beginning, Act 2 of Will's destruction tour, 1997. So, he rips Skylar's life apart, and then probably even worse, I mean, he just straight kills Lambo's spirit, and is like, Lambo's whole life feels like it's been a waste. Like the line that always gets me is Will's like, do you know how easy this is for me?
So fucking easy.
And then, I also love maybe my favorite, but most devastating line from Lambo is he's like, most days I wish I never would have met you, that I could sleep at night. He's just blessed to have met someone who's that brilliant, but like it haunts him and probably will forever because he's been working for 4 years.
I wish I never met you because then I wouldn't know someone is out there just throwing this gift away. It's like, oh,
yep.
That's so true. Will is just such a
which he would die to have.
Yeah. And everybody is like telling Will, like in the next scene after this, Ben Affleck is saying the same thing to Will.
Yep. That's, next we have the, NSA scene. I don't know. I thought this was surprise. I thought this was a really well written scene. Does anybody feel comfortable explaining that real quick?
Are the people in the NSA really that smug?
Probably. We don't like to brag.
We don't like to brag,
William.
But yes, you're right.
But yes, we are bigger. Yeah,
it's pretty much just like, yeah, go ahead.
Was this left over from the original script? Like when they go with the government?
This is kind of a callback to that. Like I believe that was put in there, or it actually, you know what? The thing might branch off from that, but it's something like that. I think it's going to call back to the stuff that was cut, but.
Well, I mean, I do like the edit that's done because, yeah, he basically just tells them off, like, yeah, maybe I do solve this code, and then we bomb this village and kill these innocent people, then they take our jobs, and then my buddy's like, broke. Like, but in the middle of that whole story, like it cuts back to a therapy session with Robin Williams, which is a pretty good edit.
Yeah.
And that's it's kind of gets the whole Sean's kind of gone over to what Will says is Lambo's side, but not really at the same time. And this is Will like kind of justifying his life. You know, what's wrong with laying brick? And Sean's really trying to get through that outer layer. You know, why did you choose MIT? Don't tell me it's for honor. You did it because, you know, you are smart and you want to show how smart you were. So he kicks Will out pretty much, but not before Will goes after Sean again about the wife. You know, basically saying, yeah, you had a good life, but your wife's dead. And basically saying you're like a loser now. You haven't done anything. You're scared to do anything else, which is, you know, you find out later that actually got through to Sean. So he kicks him out of his office. He calls Skylar, and my jam is playing in the background. Angelus by Elliott Smith. Another pretty cold. She goes, I love you. He goes, take care. And hangs up.
Adios.
I know.
Adios, muchachos. That's legend, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, we're getting pretty close here. So Will no-shows. Lambo calls Sean. He's like, where is he? Sean doesn't know. Let's have Mikey take this scene. Again, I think this is probably Affleck's finest moment, but I'm sure I'll be told I'm wrong. Mikey, you want to take the last scene with Chucky where they're together, pretty much, besides the car?
Yeah, Ben Affleck and Matt Damon are working construction now, and it's the end of the day, and at the end of the day, I guess you drink beers with the fellas, crack open a cold
Boston.
one.
It's probably a breeze
on ice.
As soon as the whistle blows, you're cracking open a cold one with the boys.
Yeah, the big old air horn blows. And then they're drinking beers out by the truck, and Ben Affleck is like, hey, so what happened with your girl? And Matt Damon is like, oh yeah, we broke up. She's moving to California. It's not going to work out. I'm not going with her. And then Ben Affleck is like, you freaking idiot. And he just lays into him and tells him that he's got this gift that everybody working at this construction site would give up anything for, and that Matt Damon is just throwing it away. And he says to him, he's got a really great little monologue here where he's like, every day, the best part of my day is when I walk up to your house, and I hope to God that you're not there, that you just like left in the middle of the night, no goodbye, no nothing. You just packed up your stuff and you're going, he doesn't say this, but like you actually did something with your gift and got out of Southie. And it just kind of like rocks Matt Damon, because that's basically his brother telling him that he kind of, this is like the end of, it's not the end of this friendship, but it's just like it has run its course right now. And Ben Affleck is trying to push Matt Damon into a better life. So it's kind of hard. It's a tough scene. I think Ben Affleck does a great job, but yeah, it can be emotional because it's kind of like this end of this friendship.
Brett, I would agree that it's his best moment too, because they set up that scene that Ben Affleck's describing like at least 3 or 4 times in the movie. Like he's always going up to the door carrying Dunkin' Donuts, like enacting that exact scene that he ends up describing. So it's like really easy to visualize, and like, yeah, I buy it. I buy that he like wants this guy to like use his lottery ticket, like Mikey was saying.
Yeah, because like, you know, they rag on each other all the time, but I think obviously deep down all 4 of those guys care about each other, and probably nobody cares about anybody as much as Chucky probably cares for Will. You know, he says something about your gift, and Will flips out. He's like, "Oh, not you too. Something about I owe it to myself." And I actually like Ben Affleck goes, "You owe it to me." So, I heard this on a podcast. You guys are the camera people. You guys notice this stuff. They thought it was a cool shot. You know, usually in monologues, you want to focus on the guy talking. You know, maybe zoom in a little bit, but it's half of it is shot over his shoulder, looking at Will. I thought that was cool, but I don't know if you guys noticed that or not. if that's something I thought was cool or if it's something you missed, or because he's given his little monologue to Will and the camera's over Chucky's shoulder looking at Will as opposed to, I know.
I think it's good because then you can see
Will's reaction, because that's what's most important, yeah.
Right, and it's definitely not the only time they do it. Like, that whole scene on the bench, I think it's, like, pretty much the same thing, right? Like, you're basically focusing on Will.
Yeah.
And even the fart story, like, most of the fart story is Good Will Hunting's reaction.
Did you guys notice, I saw one most of the reviews were good to average, and one review was really bad, and it said something like they hated the camera work. Is that something that stood out to you? Because I don't notice it, but
I didn't mind the camera work. I didn't think it was jarring in any way.
Yeah, it didn't stand out to me, but I don't look for that stuff as much. So
yeah, I wouldn't say it's like breaking any rules or anything, or like trying to do anything crazy. Besides, I mean, that one World Series,
it's cool.
Story. I mean, that's like the only thing that kind of stands out to me, and it's a good scene. So I don't think the camera work is bad at all.
Cool. I think it's more of this. They think it said it was like kind of pedestrian, but I don't know. That was one bad review. So, all right,
that guy's pretentious.
We're at a home stretch here. Lambo's freaking out to Sean. Sean, this is again. I like every scene they're together. This is maybe my favorite one. They're screaming at each other, and it kind of Sean's defending Will. You know, they're screaming at each other. This isn't about you. Lambo's like, you're holding him back. He's going to be a failure just like you. And, you know, I don't know. It's pretty brutal. A lot of things are said that you kind of, but then Will walks in, and then we get to, well, actually, Sean wants everyone to know that he chose the life he had. Like, he didn't really fail, or he didn't get any bad breaks. He chose that. I don't know why. Never really says. Maybe it's because he met a girl, settled down, didn't need all that extra stuff. But, you know, Lambo said, you were smarter than me then. You're smarter than me now. So,
is Sean supposed to be a math guy and then just ended up doing psychology after he got married?
They never really talk. That's a good question, but I think he did psychology.
Do they have that at MIT? Though. Yeah, I've never.
That's a good question. You know, I'd be interested to find that out. So then we get to, I guess I would say probably easily the most iconic scene of the movie. Stevie, you want to go ahead and describe this scene?
Is this when they're comparing how they were beaten?
Well, this is the whole "it's not your fault" scene, but yes.
I got beat worse than you. Nuh-uh, I got beat worse than you.
I didn't really take it that way, but
no, neither did I. I was just making light of it. No, but so yeah, it's kind of Sean and Good Will Hunting are wrapping up their session. It seems like it's going to be their final session. You know, they're kind of laying out their lives ahead of them, and Robin Williams kind of just wants to tell him, like, I know you've had a screwed up life, but listen, like, what happened to you had nothing to do because of you. Like, it wasn't because of you. And that's when Matt Damon starts to cry, and Robin Williams goes on repeat saying it's not your fault. It's a really tender moment. Awesome part of the movie.
Hey, Will. I don't know a lot. You see this? All this shit. This is not your fault. Yeah, I know that. Look at me, son. It's not your fault.
I know.
It's not your fault.
I know.
No, you don't. It's not your fault.
I know.
It's not your fault.
All right.
It's not your fault. It's not your fault. Don't fuck with me. It's not your fault.
Don't fuck with me, all right? Don't fuck with me, Sean, not you.
It's not your fault. It's not your fault.
Oh my god. Oh my god, I'm so sorry.
Brett, is this not Ordinary People? Isn't there a scene exactly like this in that movie? Or am I wrong? Brett?
Brett?
Uh-oh.
Oh, no.
Brett peeing.
I hope Brett's okay.
Hey, guys. I'm okay. You
All right.
got me. I was hoping, Stevie, you were going to talk a lot longer than that.
No.
Oh, man. I got
Brett.
Yes. I think it's very similar to that.
Just
The Emil Hirsch and Timothy Timothy S. Hutton. Yeah, it's similar to that. I mean, I don't know if it's exactly like that, but, that's similar when they have their breakthrough.
Is that an older movie?
It beat Raging Bull, I think.
I don't know. I'm still thrown off by Brett peeing.
You don't... No, I was peeing. I just said I thought you were going to talk longer. Maybe I went to get a snack. Edit point. Are we good, Steve? Are we good, Pappy? Or you?
You're the host, Brett.
Well, I mean, you're mad at me, so I wanted to.
He was just shook.
I was shook.
Yeah, I didn't get to shake because I was getting yelled at.
Okay, Judd Hirsch was in Ordinary People. You
Yeah, I said Emil. Yeah,
I was like, Emil's that old?
No, Emil Hirsch probably was not born.
That dude has
then.
looked like he was 18 for the past 25 years.
For sure. Yeah, Judd Hirsch.
Okay, awesome.
But
yeah, it was. That's probably like one of like the more like cry parts of the movies. I guess if you're gonna cry in this movie, that would be it. Is when Robin Williams and Matt Damon finally have that, I guess, I love you too, man moment.
Yeah, I really like that scene. It kind of gives me goosebumps every time. Pap, what did you think of that scene when you watched it for the first time? I'm sure you'd heard about it at least a little bit before.
Yeah, I mean, I had definitely seen that scene before. I love how Damon plays it, and I love Robin Williams too. I mean, it's a little... It just kind of wraps things up pretty quick, but I mean, yeah, I'll be damned if it's not super emotional. You know what I mean? Like, it almost made me cry. Like, I didn't quite. Like, Mikey, you said you always cry when you watch this movie. Is this the part?
I was going to ask you that. Yeah.
I mean, also the breakup scene is also really hard to
brutal.
watch.
It is brutal. It really is.
But yeah, I mean, it's sad. He's kind of a broken guy, and then I mean, I think, like Pap said, it does get wrapped up really quick, but it is like so efficient at the way it wraps it up. It kind of a whirlwind of emotions right there.
And like, it's not your fault. It's simple, but it's like, it can literally be said for millions of people in this world. You know, it's not your fault, your situation. It's not your fault that you're doing this, and it's just perfect for Will because he didn't really stand a chance. I mean, if he's grown into an affluent family, you know, he's already graduating Harvard in 2 years. He's off to, Oxford or whatever. But instead, he's a poor, abused, broken kid from Southie. So it's just like the four words and yeah, Matt Damon, I thought, plays it really well. You know, he's kind of like, okay, yeah. And then he's kind of like getting embarrassed. And then he gets mad. Like he goes through almost like 5 stages of grief, maybe a little, out of order, but I think it's a really powerful scene. So, Will just everything's kind of gotten to him. I think Chucky and Sean finally, those little breakthroughs with him. He goes to an interview. He accepts a job. He goes and has a pretty tender thank you and goodbye with Sean. And it looks like I said earlier, Sean's finally taking, he's been in a rut for, I guess his wife's been dead 2 years. She was really sick for 2 years and she was sick before that for 6 years. So he's kind of in a 10-year rut and, Will kind of gets him out of that funk. I mean, he was mean about it. He was trying to sting Sean, but it ended up working. Sean's going to travel. He gives him a number. He's like, please call me. I'll be here, whatever you need. And it kind of just ends with that. Then you get a classic 21st birthday. It's got one of I think the funniest lines that Will says, they give him a car, and didn't want to say how he reacts when he sees the car. What he says? He's like, "This is." He goes,
"Worst fucking car I've ever seen."
Ugliest, yeah. But and I think Brittany brought up something at the very end, and I think they have a really quick little line that kind of makes it not a plot hole. Brittany's like, "There's no way that car is going to make it to California." And I said that line by Cole Hauser, it's a good engine. I feel like, they got nice parts in there. So, but maybe it's
somebody. I think Will says like real quick. I don't even know if you can hear all that well, but he's like, "What's in here? A lawnmower or whatever."
But he's like, "It's a good engine. It's a good engine."
Yeah, it's a good engine.
But so Sean and Lambo apologize to each other. That's another kind of tender scene because they've been building to just about a fist fight all the way up. And then, it looks like they're going to be okay. And then the very last scene of the movie, there's two concurrent scenes in the movie going on at one time. Will goes and leaves a note for Sean. And as that's happening, Chucky and the boys are going to pick up Will. And then kind of what Pappy was talking about earlier, you have that payoff scene where he goes up there and, it almost makes it look like Chucky was not being serious because he looks shocked. He looks sad, but then he's just like, "Oh crap, it finally happened." And he smiles. So because he realized that Will just kind of up and left and it looks like his stuff was gone or whatever. And then, Sean reads the note, basically says, "I'm going to California." He says, "I'm going to see about a girl." And I think I read this was ad-libbed as well. And I think it was actually Matt Damon's favorite line in the whole movie was, stole my line,
Son of a bitch.
Sean, if the professor calls about that job, just tell him, sorry. I had to go see about a girl. Will.
Son of a bitch. He stole my line.
So then you get some sweet Elliott Smith jams and he's getting on the highway, heading to California. And that is Good Will Hunting.
Roll credits.
Just real quick before we get into the trivia and yes or no's. When I first watched this, maybe the second, third time, I was never a fan of Minnie Driver. But I feel like every time I watch it, I find her more and more charming to the point where I think she's fun and bubbly and I like her in the story. So I want to know what you guys thought about that.
I thought Minnie Driver was cool. I thought she did a really good job in this movie.
For sure, and I agree. I think she just annoyed me when I first saw it. I was young. I was 1997. I was 40.
A young man of 40.
Young, spry Brett.
Yep.
Baby face.
I like her. I mean, I don't really see her in a lot of stuff, but I would say this is what I mostly associate with her.
What else is she in?
Does a really good job.
Well, she's on a TV show right now. She's on that Speechless show with that kid with.
Yeah, I definitely don't watch that.
No, but she actually got nominated for an Oscar for this. But yeah, no, she had a brief couple movies and then kind of didn't do much after that. At least not that I know of. But I just meant if you liked her in the movie. I thought she's pretty charming and fun. So, all right, cool. Does anybody have any final thoughts before we get to yes or no's? I feel like I'm doing most of the talking, so I apologize.
Soundtrack good, score bad.
Terrible.
That's straight from the rewatchable Bill Simmons podcast. But yeah, I don't know if I really noticed it. Isn't it Elfman? Isn't he like a good composer?
That's what it
Yeah,
says.
I'd always liked Danny Elfman, and Stevie'd always complain about Danny Elfman, but this is the first time I'm like, yeah, this shit sucks. Like,
I can't remember it.
Well, that's
you can always tell a Danny Elfman movie.
Is it like a bunch of pan flute?
Basically.
Sounds like you're at the circus when it should be a serious movie.
So he should be doing stuff with Tim Burton.
Yes.
He has done
I mean,
stuff
he's
with...
done a million movies with
That's
Tim
what
Burton.
I thought. They're perfect for each other.
And is Robin Williams Community College, is that like right off of a freeway or a bridge? Where is that at?
I mean,
that was a weird building.
Every Ivy Tech I've pretty much ever seen has been off a freeway, so it's not that surprising.
This is a Bunker Hill Community College, though, Brett. They're nice.
I'll take your word for it. So any other final thoughts before we get to yes or no's?
Nope. I don't have anything.
All right, cool. So let's start with, let's go with Stevie.
I will give this movie a very solid yes. I always enjoy watching this movie.
You made me nervous, man.
What?
You were like,
hell
oh,
no.
Man, I don't know.
No, it's a very good movie. What won Best Picture that year, Brett?
Titanic.
Okay, yeah. Yeah.
Woof.
Ugh, that's going to be a future spoilers pick for sure. But
You like Titanic, Stevie?
I like to shit on it in front of my wife. That's what I like, Brett.
So you like to watch it, but you don't like it. Okay.
Correct. Celine Dion, the best. But, yeah, awesome. It was a great acted movie. This is probably Robin Williams' best acted film. I think it's really cool that Matt Damon and I guess you can put in quotes Ben Affleck wrote this and actually got to star in it as well. So very solid, yes. The only thing I didn't like was the scene. There's two throwaway scenes. The one where he's supposed to be in the business meeting, and the one where Casey Affleck like walks downstairs after he gets done jerking off. There's no point to that.
You're right.
There's
like
no point to that.
I do too, but I think
piece
they're
whatsoever.
both just comic relief. But yeah,
there's no point to them. It could have been cut, and the movie wouldn't change whatsoever.
It's the
so
only
very
VCR in
solid,
the house.
Yes. Yeah.
Cool. Let's go with Pat.
Yeah, this is a yes for me too. First time seeing it. It's really cheesy, but it's a good kind of cheese. So people love Robin Williams. Like right next to my apartment, there's like a big mural of him. I posted on our Instagram before, but like it's like always the thing I see people taking pictures with the most. And like this is probably like his, maybe I don't know if it's most iconic role, but like Stevie said, definitely his best acted. It's cool that he actually won the Oscar for probably his best acting performance. I think it definitely deserved best original screenplay too. It definitely feels very authentic. So solid yes for me. Embrace the cheese.
Yeah, for sure. It's a masterclass in cheese. Okay, so Mikey.
Yeah, I'm gonna say the same. Super hard yes. I love this movie. I think it's great. There's like a lot of really emotional scenes in this movie, and I think they're all pretty well done. I mean, some of the things Robin Williams is talking about, it's like, oof, that makes a lot of sense. I should probably incorporate that into my everyday life. And he's just really great in this movie. I think, like we've said, this is definitely his best movie. I don't know, Aladdin might be number 2, but this is definitely his best movie. Even Stellan Skarsgård is great in this movie. And Ben Affleck, this is his peak career-wise, I feel like. And Matt Damon is awesome. And I like the whole story around that they wrote this and then they acted in it. It's just like a real nose to the grindstone kind of story on getting a movie made. And I mean, now look at their careers. They're megastars. Yep. It's insane.
Keep your ear to the grindstone. Cool. So, I'll finish with mine. I said it earlier. This is one of my favorite movies. I feel like I've been gushing way too much over it the last hour, but I really love it. I like it more and more. Just the scene with Sean, and pretty much every scene with Sean and Matt Damon. Sean and Will are just great in my opinion, and they have a good chemistry. This is a definite yes. This is one of the probably my second favorite movie we've spoiled behind Ghostbusters, so definite.
Oh, 2 of your own movies.
Go figure.
To be fair, I wasn't going to pick Ghostbusters. I was told to pick it, but I'm glad. But, yeah, so that's 4 yeses.
And to be fair, Brett, I wasn't mad at you for peeing. I was mad at you for making it awkward. To be fair.
I know. What was I going to do? You can't pinch it. It stings.
Well...
Dumb and Dumber. I think I butchered that quote, but you can't start when you stop. It stings. Stop when you start. Whatever. So, anybody have, I don't know, a food? Boston cream donuts. I love those.
Fresh Boston cream donuts.
With some Dunkin' Donuts coffee.
Oh, yeah. Dunkin'. So, yeah, this movie's preserved. I wish we could have had the other brothers here.
Jordan would have given it a no.
Oh, wait. Josh wanted me to read his review.
Cool.
Fuck. Okay, as the opening credits rolled, I couldn't help but see the Weinsteins' names like an angry scar across a beautiful face. During the movie, Jerry, the brilliant prof, not only invites a co-ed over for drinks later at his place, but also calls mathematical theorems erotic, then stares creepily, expectantly at a new young woman. Clearly an abuse of power in both cases. Robin Williams and Matt Dillon joke about grabbing ass in a client-professional relationship. Also, Minnie Driver and Matt Damon call her phone in the rain, says nothing, and then she thinks, who just posted in the thread? Just moved it. Thanks, Brett. Then she thinks it's some professor calling her again to harass her. This is not normal, in all caps, with 2 exclamation points. I would typically forgive such things in a movie as well written as Good Will Hunting, but I want to stress again that this kind of shit shouldn't be normalized in an otherwise lovable movie. Also, the scene with Ben Affleck swindling the think tank employees is the worst part of the film. Agree with that. Casey Affleck is subtly amazing and for me makes the whole film group dynamic believable. Huge nostalgic yes for me. Robin Williams was at his absolute peak in this, and that's saying something. Love, sick Josh. Brett Papp, could you read that for me? So, sounds like a yes, but with some caveats.
Yeah, well, we got some typical Josh caveats, but cool. I'm glad he did that. I didn't see that, so my apologies. I didn't realize you were reading from that. I thought it was something he sent you earlier, but
unanimous Robin Williams best movie.
Yeah, you forgot about 1 hour photo and Death to Smoochie, but other than that, yeah, probably his
best. Death to Smoochie, I love that movie.
I figured you'd love that movie.
I like RV.
RV.
All right, well, so I don't know if we want to. I'd like for you guys to have like a minute or two to review what I just sent you. Just for the audience at home, I've been freaking out about this trivia all day. I really wanted to try something new. I think it's either going to be an absolute disaster or super fun. So I don't know what it's going to... It could be both. It could be both. I don't know. I expected there to be a lot of people. So what I sent to the guys are 20 homophone... It says homonym. 20 homophone movies, and they are one word is changed, which changes the whole synopsis of the movie. Does that make sense to everybody? I have an example that I made myself, which was a lot harder than I thought it was going to be, and it's really bad. But does everyone get what I'm talking about?
So we have to give the movie based on the synopsis.
Yes, and I'm going to obviously don't say any of the ones, but it's going to be 2 points for naming the movie, 1 point for, this is kind of up in the air, but spelling the different homophone, explaining it, or explaining why it's a homophone.
Ah, bro.
It's going to be quick. It won't take long. And then I do have clues that I made myself. You can ask for a clue, but you lose a point. Do we guys stop?
No. I'm like exhaling us every. Okay, what's your example? Can you give us that just so I can hear?
Well, I mean, I could use one of the ones because I was expecting a lot more people, but this is so bad. But
go for it.
Okay, this is a current movie out right now. Written by Arthur Conan Doyle, this is the story of the different houses that a British doctor has helped solve mysteries in. You don't have to get...
The house with a clock in its walls?
No.
Sherlock Holmes?
Okay, so the answer is Holmes and Watson. Holmes spelled Homes. So that's why he's talking about different houses. Again, I made this up myself. It's really hard. But these other ones are a lot better.
Oh, Lord.
So if you would have said Holmes and Watson, you would have gotten 2 points. And if you could point out why it's a homophone, it's 1 extra point.
Okay.
Sure.
All right.
Okay.
Okay. And I do have a clue. Some of them are better than the others, but I wanted the person who's so you said the order I had was Pappy, Stevie, Mikey. Is that
In the order
Mikey's hosted?
Most recently hosted, yeah.
Okay, so it'd be... I want Mikey to have the most advantage. So I wanted Mikey to pick one that he thinks he can guess and do it that way.
Oh, we're not going in
I
order?
get to choose?
I can, but I was just going to have you pick one that you think you know.
I'll just go in order. I'm not going to keep track of which ones we've done or not done.
All right.
I'm going to pick, if I can pick.
That's fine with me.
I'm not going to read all of these.
I was going to read them, but that's fine. I was actually going to have the person with the least advantage, like Pappy, go first, so you had time to look. So, so he doesn't have an advantage. So let's do it that way. It's going to go Pappy, Mikey, Stevie. And I don't know. We don't have to do all 20. Do you want to...
Let's do all 20.
Yeah,
okay,
fuck yeah.
fine. Okay, so Pappy, you pick a number, and I will read it for the audience at home.
Number 15.
This might end up being really easy. I don't know. Okay, so in a desperate attempt to prevent aliens from forever warping their doors and windows, the Looney Tunes seek the aid of a retired basketball player and handyman.
So would that be
Name the movie.
Space Jam?
That is correct. By the way, go ahead. I'll explain that later. So that's 2 points.
And then is it like jammed windows? Is that the explanation?
You literally picked one of the hardest homophones on there. Like,
okay, what is
Doors
it?
and window jams?
That's my guess, yeah.
Hey, are you guys on a team?
That was my guess. I
No,
already said
but that's
that.
what Pap said.
That is correct. Yeah, it's JAMB. So that is 3 points for Pappy right off the bat.
Thank you.
Interesting.
All right. So is everyone got it, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Mikey, you're up.
I'll do 16.
Okay. This one is Luke Skywalker joins forces with a Jedi Knight, a cocky pilot, 2 droids, and a wildebeest to save the galaxy from the Empire's world-destroying battle station.
Why am I blanking on Star Wars movies? What would be the homophone? Han Solo? A Star Wars story? Han Solo?
That is incorrect. I don't think we were going to do steals, right?
No.
Nah.
Okay. So Mikey got his 0 right now after round 1. It was Star Wars Episode 4, A New Hope. New is GNU, which is apparently a wildebeest.
That's tough.
That is very tough. But you could have gotten, you could have gotten the story because you're trying to destroy the Death Star, which it pretty much says. So it's tough.
That's all the movies.
That's every one of them.
That's true. All right, cool. So Stevie, you're up.
Hit me with, let me see here. Hold on. Hit me with number 10.
Number 10. Thomas is deposited in a community of farm workers after his memory is erased. Soon learning they're all trapped in a corn maze and have to join forces in order to escape.
So, that's the Maze Runner.
That's correct.
I'm guessing the homophone there is like maze, like corn and maize.
That is correct. Nicely done.
All right.
Never even seen
It's really good.
that.
Pappy?
Number 4.
Okay. This might end up being super easy. I apologize for everybody at home. I mean, all these, not this one. After his parents get lost in a dimly lit alleyway, billionaire Bruce Wayne becomes obsessed with cleaning up Gotham City's street lamp infrastructure.
The Dark Knight, and night as in knight, and then nighttime.
That's correct. That's 3 points for Pap.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because there's no streetlights, so...
I would have said Batman Begins, because that's what happens in that movie, but I get it.
But none of those aren't homophones, though. You got to be careful with that.
Gotcha.
All right, Mikey.
I don't know any of these movies, Brett. I'll go... number 8.
Okay. The mother of a severely traumatized daughter enlists the aid of a man with a terrible cold to help the girl's equally injured horse.
The mother of a severely traumatized daughter.
You can take a clue. I don't know if it's gonna
I forgot about the clues.
help or not.
Yeah, give me a
By
clue.
the way, and the clue only goes to the name of the movie, nothing to do with the homophone, okay?
All right.
Okay, the clue is Sundance Kid.
Oh, Butch Cassidy.
No, don't.
Sundance Kid.
Do you want me to read it?
I don't know.
Okay, so anybody have a guess?
I just picked a number and I did not know.
Anybody have a guess on that before I tell?
I think I know what it is.
Mm-mm.
It's the Horse Whisperer. Horse. He's hoarse because he has a terrible cold. Thank you.
Never seen that movie. Isn't that ScarJo?
I have no idea. I've never seen it. All right, Stevie.
I recognize her name. I think I know what it is. Where is it? It's hit me at number 5.
The true story of Diane Fossey, a scientist who came to Africa to study a vanishing group of misfit militants and later fought to protect them.
Okay, is that Gorillas in the Mist?
That's correct.
Okay. Well, vanishing... I'm guessing, is the homophone like misfit and mist? Like...
Incorrect. The homophone is gorillas, Guerrillas, because they're misfit militants.
Or ridiculous. Alright.
You got 2 points, though. You got 2 points.
This is ridiculous.
I like it, Brett.
Thank you. I just try to add something new.
You're doing solid.
GNU. New. Pappy?
Give me number 12.
A misogynistic and snobbish phonetics professor agrees to a wager that he can take a flower girl and transform her into a successful taxi driver.
That'd be My Fair Lady, and fair is in what you pay when you ride a taxi.
Correct. Pappy is out to...
Am I having a stroke when I'm reading these clues? None of these are making sense. None of these make sense to me at all.
Why is this in Wingding?
But I feel like I'm reading a Dr. Seuss quiz.
All right, Mike.
I am so confused.
Mikey, you need something big here.
Give me 20.
2 business rivals who despise each other in real life unwittingly fall in love over the internet. Sadly, he thought he was texting Ryan Meg.
Okay, I got this one. You've got male, female, and male.
Correct.
Email.
Nicely done. Stevie.
I don't think it matters what I do here. Okay,
What do you mean? You got a chance.
Hit me with number 1.
Damn.
When a young Inuit hunter needlessly loses his clothes, he is magically changed into a bear as punishment, with a talkative cub being his only guide to finding his attire.
Okay. Brother Bear.
Yep.
And is that as far as goes like bear and like bare ass?
Yes.
Alright.
Bears
there
are
we
naked.
go. I think
Correct.
I understand what's going on here.
You need Pappy to screw up. You're a point down. After 3 rounds, Pappy with 9, Stevie with 8, Mikey with 2. Alright, so Pappy up or?
Yeah. Give me number 3.
Following the death of a disabled publishing tycoon, news reporters scrambled to discover the meaning of his final utterance. Bamboo, wicker, or rattan? I don't know what that is.
Probably
that's
Citizen
easy.
Kane. And then Kane is in sugar cane.
Okay.
No.
How strict?
Would it be
are-
like the type of cane?
That's what I'm saying. I'm like,
Yeah, like
he's got cane as in it's
Cane,
spelled
okay.
right, but he didn't use the right.
It's the wrong cane.
well, cane is in like a walking cane then.
There you go.
Okay, I'll give it to you. I didn't know how strict I was going to be. That's correct. Citizen Kane. Mikey?
I don't want to choose one that we've... I'll go 11. Have we done that?
A male butcher meets his girlfriend's parents before proposing, but her suspicious vegan father is every date's worst nightmare.
This is a plot of a movie?
Well, most of it's a plot of a movie, a famous movie, but with the change of the word, there's a change in the storyline, the synopsis.
Yeah. I think the problem is I just never have seen any of these movies, and it's throwing me for a loop. My husband is an axe murderer? I don't know. I have no idea.
There's a clue.
Yeah, give me the clue.
Okay, it's probably not going to help you if you're that far off, but lie detector. A male butcher meets his girlfriend's parents before proposing, but her suspicious vegan father is every date's worst nightmare. And the clue is lie detector.
I know the series of movies. I don't know which one. Is it Meet the Parents?
That's correct.
Meet being meet someone new and meat being food.
That's correct. So you got 2 points on that one. Stevie.
Do we do 17 yet?
We have not done 17.
Let's do 17.
Damn you.
It's so funny. Like, some people just see it and some people don't. Like, I feel like Pappy and Stevie are just, they're so far ahead. Like, they know what. I probably shouldn't have passed it out, but it's all right.
Yeah, you shouldn't have.
A young boy accidentally joins a band of time-traveling dwarves as they jump from era to era looking for herbs and spices for culinary, medicinal, and ornamental use.
So, Time Bandits and Time, like the THYME one.
That's correct.
Right.
The clue for this one was Pappy.
Pappy's greatest mistake.
All right, Pappy.
What's left?
1918, 14, 13, 2, 6, 7, 9. 2 more rounds, I believe.
Give me 2.
Utah, give me 2.
Tough.
A prep school student needing money agrees to babysit a blind man, but the job is not at all that he anticipated, and honestly doesn't pay very much.
I need a clue.
The clue is Lifetime Achievement Oscar? Question mark.
That helps me nothing.
I don't know. Yeah.
You want me to read it again, or?
A prep school, a Lifetime Achievement Oscar. Who got a Lifetime?
This is big if you can't deliver.
A prep school student needing money agrees to babysit a blind man. What? The job is not at all. I only get the one clue. Lifetime Achievement Oscar.
Oh, I know this one now.
I guess I can make up another clue, but you're going to lose another point.
Yeah, you better do that.
All right, the second clue is Hooah. Do you know it now?
Yeah. That's a fantastic clue.
The Devil's Advocate? I don't know.
Right actor, wrong movie. Steve, you got
Son of a Woman.
Son of a woman.
Son of a woman.
And cent as in like a penny because it doesn't pay very much.
Damn.
Oh, that's a tough round for Paps.
Oi.
The door has creaking open. So, Mikey, I guess you got shot too, man.
I don't think I do. Well,
you knew that one though, didn't you?
Yeah, I got that one. I'll do... We didn't say 14, right? I'll do 14.
Okay. This is one of my favorite ones, I think. A reluctant hero and his companion seek authentic, signed, and numbered copies by famed artist, the Sheriff of Nottingham. This is one of the tougher ones, too, I think.
God damn it. Give me that clue.
The clue is sometimes he had an accent, kind of.
Robin Hood?
I'm going to need you,
I
need you to be more specific.
I have no idea. Robin Hood, Men in Tights?
Nope.
You got it, Stevie?
Prince of Thieves.
And you get the homophone on that one? It's a tough homophone. Probably one of the tougher
is it
ones.
Prince and Prince?
Yeah.
No.
Well, by definition, it's Prince and Prince.
Like P-R-I-N-T?
P-R-I-N-T-S. Like, yep, authentic signed and numbered copies. Oh, okay, so that's a -1 for Mikey there.
Negative?
Well, you asked for a clue and you didn't get it right.
What's the score now?
Mikey, -3.
After, let's see. You know what? I
still have to go.
You go first, and then I'll do a last
round score. Have you done 7 yet?
God damn it, Stevie.
7 has not been done. Okay. In the dead of a Wyoming winter, a bounty hunter and his prisoner find shelter in a cabin inhabited by a collection of very angry and very hungry characters.
Okay, is it the Hateful Eight?
Yes.
And is it Bounty and like Bounty?
No.
8 and 8?
Oh, I see. My bad.
Ooh, that's big. That could be huge, Pap. So you got 2 points. You just didn't get the bonus.
Yeah, I always screw that up.
Okay, after 5 rounds, Pappy has 10 points. Stevie has... Ooh, geez, that got weird. Stevie has 13. Let go. And Mikey has...
Why do I even play? Why am I even on this freaking podcast?
I'm just trying to figure out how Stevie pulled away he didn't get... Not only did he get the 2 guesses, he didn't get it right.
Yeah, no, I didn't know there was minuses. All of a sudden, there's this new twist.
Hey, when you edit it, play it back. I said that. I said it, and I even said the second one was going to be another minus. All right, last round. Okay, Pappy, you're up. Need a 3 for here.
What's left? 8?
6, 9, and... Oh, well, there's a lot left. Well, hey, we can do 8. You know what? We got a whole other round after this if you want, but it's up to you. 13,
give me 6.
That finishes game.
6. Under dystopian right-wing staunch religious tyranny, a young woman is put into sexual slavery on account of her freakishly giant appendage. I think this is a Japanese movie, ?
Okay, give me a clue.
I was going to say, do you know that?
No.
That's a tough one. It's a very popular streaming show as well.
I don't know the name of the show.
I does.
It's the one with the person from Mad Men on it.
I have no idea.
I don't know.
Can I say it?
Yeah.
Is it The Handmaid's Tale and Tale and Tale?
Stevie, this is your game, bro.
It's over. Stevie wins.
Mikey, you want to just finish it out?
I'm not going to embarrass myself anymore with this.
What's left?
There's no point. I clearly
we try
lost.
to do them together.
Yeah, it's
Can
fine.
I do one?
Go ahead.
Just got to make sure we finish off the round. I mean, technically, we got 2 more to go.
I know, but I could win.
You already won.
Pap can still storm.
No. Pappy's got 9 points now. You have 13.
You have
Okay, well, I think I know number 9.
All right, so if we're conceding to Stevie, we'll just do number... That's fine. Native American warrior Tonto recounts the untold tales that transformed John Reed, a modest mortgage broker, into a legend of justice.
That's Lone Ranger, Lone and Lone.
Oh, damn.
He's too good at this game. He is a Hama phone master.
What's left? Which ones didn't we do?
13, 18, and 19.
A young widow discovers that her late husband has left her several messages intended to guide her in the trials and tribulations of raising a decent flock of sheep.
I think I know it.
What is it?
Is that P.S. I Love You?
It is. What's the homophone? It's a tough one.
I don't know.
You?
Yeah, well, obviously, again, by definition, it's you. It's a homophone. But, yeah, EWE, which I guess is a sheep.
Oh,
nice.
Yeah.
It's a sheep? Yeah.
This had
Very
like
nice.
This had like my most desperate clue that I thought only Josh or Pep. It was also the name of a Beatles song from the B-side of Love Me Do. Yeah, so clue would have been probably pretty tough on that one. 18, you want to read, Pep?
The Chronicle of an Aspiring Szechuan Chef from the early days on an Arkansas cotton farm to raise his fame with the Peking
To
Sun...
his rise to fame.
Rise to fame with the Peking Sun restaurant in Memphis. I have no idea.
I have no clue.
Oh, this is one of the funnier ones.
What's a clue?
He fell in.
Oh, is that Walk the Line?
Walk the line.
A walk.
W-O-K.
Szechuan Chef.
Oh, Brett. I love it.
That's a really good one, Brett. I hope we play this game every time you host.
Dude, I tried to make some myself. They're so hard to like write synopsis. And I'm like kind of a writer. This is actually probably my favorite one, but would probably have been a hard one. The story of the original Mercury 7 authors and their macho, seat-of-the-pants approach to the creative process. And
Mercury 7.
The clue was you got it.
I have no clue.
No.
Astronaut movie from the 80s, 4 hours long. The Right Stuff.
Wow.
What's the homophone?
I've never seen that.
Right. W-R-I-T-E.
T-E.
They're not they're the Mercury 7 astronauts, not the authors.
God.
All right, well, thank you this is our longest podcast ever.
That was awesome.
I'm glad you enjoyed that. I'm glad it like ended up being pretty close at the end, but
once I understood it, now
you were pretty good at that because Pappy stormed off. He was on fire, and then when he couldn't get the
I can't
scent of
believe
a
I missed
woman,
the Time Bandits one. I think I was just so flustered after that, and then Stevie kept picking all mine right before for me.
So yeah, our winner of this week's weird, but hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Trivia is Stevie. He's on fire, folks. He's just killing it. I know his streak is over, but he's still
starting a new one.
Yeah, it's like 4 or 5 or something. So let's kick it to spoilers, man, and we'll come back and Stevie will have a movie for us.
Like Spoilers Podcast on Facebook. You can now check us out on Spotify, YouTube, Stitcher, and Google Podcasts. Our email is podcastspoilers@gmail.com. Twitter is @spoilers_pod. Our Instagram is Podcast Spoilers. It's lit. Josh Hensley from the Rutabaga wrote our theme. Our number is 903-776-4507.
All right, and we're back. Let's kick it to Stevie and see what movie we're going to spoil next.
One genre of film that really never seems to get it right anymore is video game movies.
For a reason.
But there was one when I was younger.
Oh, no.
And it introduced us all to techno in the style of music that we love. No. We're going to do the original classic Mortal Kombat.
I love Mortal Kombat.
Mortal Kombat!
Oh, man.
That's going to be a fun one.
Scorpion. All right. Pappy, do you
Chris
have any...
Lambert, too, Movie Club.
He speaks English better in this movie.
He does speak English better.
It's Lambert.
Don't forget he does his classic in this movie. So,
exciting times.
Pappy, do you have anything you need to spoil or call out or play or?
No, just end.
Yeah. If you guys are still listening, you guys love us. You really love us. So, thanks everybody for joining us. I hope you had fun. See you next week.
That was spoilers.
Hey guys, I'm okay.